Hi everyone, you're watching WorldviewZ. My name is Bridgette Hunt, and today we're at the Commonwealth Sports Club, and I'm with the host of WorldviewZ, Hurley.
Well, hello, and welcome, Bridgette, officially to BaseNet and to WorldviewZ. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, I'm glad to be here.
Cool.
Well, today Holly's going to show us some exercises that you can do from home that will help you make your New Year's resolution of becoming more fit a reality.
Thank you, Bridgette. And I think it's an important thing. You know, a lot of people set out for New Year's resolutions and they make these really unrealistic goals for themselves. I always say I would rather you make a plan. So instead of making goals, so now look at your goals from New Year's resolution and make yourself a plan. You know, I'm going to do this every day in order to lose 10 pounds. You need to make that plan a part of your goal. And a big part of that for a lot of people who can't afford a fabulous gym like the Commonwealth Sports Club, is actually exercising at home. So I'm going to take Bridgette through just a couple of basic exercises you can do. There's a famous trainer, and his name is Gunnar Peterson, and he has made mention of doing 10 squats every day. He says, 10 deep squats every day will get your blood pumping and help you get your legs stronger. So a lot of people are confused about what a squat actually looks like. So we're going to take a look at a basic squat and how to do it, and we're going to give you an easier version and a harder version. So the first thing we're going to start with is a squat, just a basic squat. This is one of the most basic movements you do in life when you bend over to pick things up. It's probably the most functional of things that you can do at home because you're going to be bending down and picking things up a lot, right? So yeah, there you go. And so we're going to start off you're going to bend your knees, put your hands out nice in front of you there just for balance, and go ahead and drop your booty towards the floor. Beautiful. Now you'll notice when Bridgette's doing these squats, she's not letting her knees come past her toe, right? So she's going to keep her weight in her heels to keep her from falling over. So she's nice and sturdy in this position. Now, if this is hard for you and you find it's kind of scary to lean back and you find that your knees are coming forward and you can't see your toes, I always recommend you start in a sitting position on a chair in your house or a couch. And then you go ahead and make sure you can see your toes from there. Stand up, sit back down, and you can work up to actually touching your tush, and then eventually to squatting without anything behind you. Okay. That typically makes it really easy to learn. Feel pretty confident with that? Yeah,
because you have like a guide, so it's like like how far, what's like a comfortable level to like go, and you don't like really push it too far, right?
Exactly. So. It's important to exercise at your level. So you don't want to be doing anything crazy that maybe you saw in The Biggest Loser just because you saw it on TV. Something that's right for you or something that's right for them may not be the same thing. So now coming from here, obviously Bridgette's in pretty good shape, so maybe a squat is not yet a big enough challenge for her. So we want to go up a little bit. And as you start to learn your squat and you get a really good squat, the next thing you might want to try would be a squat jump, or a squat hop. So Bridgette, what you're going to do is you're going to start out, hands in front of you again. Now as you come down, I want you to push the air behind you and then use your arms to power yourself up as high as you can go.
Okay.
Good. Now the arms on this are secondary. They're not quite as important as what your legs are doing. Go ahead and pause for me for a second there. Now you'll notice when Bridgette's jumping and landing, you hear very little clumping or thumping or stomping.
I hope.
Yeah, good. You do well. You do the best you can. Everybody's a little bit different. And so when you come down, you want to absorb first through your toes, rolling down, then bend your knees, rolling down, then bending your hips. So you want to take a nice, soft, quiet landing. I always say like a ninja. You see someone drop in a ninja movie from the ceiling, they land perfectly silently. You want to work up to where your squat hops go really high and land really quietly. And that's how you really make those hard for yourself. So the basic first leg exercise, and one that's really easy for everyone to do, is a squat. Well, obviously you're saying, okay, now I've worked my lower body a little bit, right? So I want to move on to something for my upper body. Now I come from, my very first trainer that I ever had who trained me was a former drill sergeant. So I love a push-up, and push-ups are really good. And when you talk about exercises that work your whole body, a push-up is one of those exercises. You have to keep your legs tight, your tush tight, your abs tight, and then you have to use your arms. Now you're going to put your hands just a little bit wider than your shoulders. Okay. And you're going to put your feet out behind you. Now when you're doing a push-up, you're in what's called a plank position, and a plank's really good for your abs. So when you're in this position, you're going to want to pull your stomach up away from the floor. Yeah, see that? Pulling away from my fingers. And then you want to kind of tuck your tush under so that your butt stays nice and strong. Now that way your whole body is helping you as opposed to fighting you. You can come down for a second and breathe. Now when we execute the push-up, what you want to focus on is as you go down, kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together and drop your chest towards the floor. And then as you're pushing up, up, you want to think that you're kind of pushing your chest away from the floor, pushing your shoulders away from the floor. That way that posture stays nice and strong, and you're not sort of crouching over. You never want to be looking down at your stomach when you're doing a push-up, because that way you actually get really tight in your neck and shoulders, and that's not good. You don't want
You
that.
can like injure yourself too, right?
Yeah, we don't want to get injured doing push-ups at home. That's not a good thing. All right, so let's go ahead and try this in this position for me.
Okay.
Good, and going down and up. Good. When you bend the elbows, what you're looking for is you want your chest to pass your elbows or to get just a few inches from the floor. Think that there's someone's fist right underneath your chest and you're going to touch it and then come right back up. Good. Now for some people this may be a little bit too advanced, right? So go ahead and come up for me, Bridget. Now let's say you can't quite do 10 of those yet, or you can't quite do as many as you want to of those yet. So you want to try it from a slightly easier position. All you have to do is put your knees down. Now I'm actually going to have you turn to the side for this one, Bridget.
All right. These are the girl push-ups, right? That's what I learned.
Yeah, some people like to call these girl push-ups. I have a lot of gentlemen who this is still a very difficult thing for them to do as well. So go ahead and try it on your knees.
And it's the same
Exactly,
method.
same basic movement. Now you'll notice as Bridget's doing this on her knees, her tush or her butt is not hanging up in the air. It's actually tucked under. It's moving with her spine, right? Nothing's moving from here to here except her arms, and her knees are a little bit behind her. Go ahead and move your knees sort of under your hips like most people tend to do, and kind of leave your butt up there.
Okay.
That's wrong. You don't want to do this. This is not a push-up. It's sort of a bird feeder type movement, not quite what you want to be doing. So go back and show me one more good one so we can leave with a nice picture there. Beautiful. Now, if you have already done the knee push-up and you've already done a regular push-up, and or maybe you think the knee push-up is still too easy for you, but a regular push-up is still hard, try doing a push-up on your couch, or maybe on a very sturdy table or on a chair, and that'll give you sort of an elevated surface so you can get somewhere in between.
Sounds good.
Cool. And then obviously if that's easy for you, you can do push-ups where you jump off the floor. You can do push-ups where you clap. You know, one of my favorite variations is, you know, a nice clapping push-up. You know, as you get better, you can make it harder and harder for yourself. Yeah, exactly. You know, I've been doing push-ups a long time, and I've done a lot of push-ups in my life. So before you get to that point, you want to make sure you can do numerous, maybe even over 50 really good push-ups, or, you know, maybe 25 or so. You want to get to where push-ups pretty easy for you before you start throwing your weight around. But you do want to be able to upgrade when you need to.
Sounds good. What else do you have to show us?
So now we're going to move on to abdominal exercises. Now a lot of people like to do sit-ups or basic crunches, but the important thing is a lot of people tend to like to pull on their neck when they do sit-ups or basic crunches. And there are some people who no longer believe that the sit-up is a safe move for everyone. All I can tell you is that with any kind of exercise, do the things that you like, but more importantly, if they hurt, they're probably not doing the right things. Soreness, that sort of dull ache 2 or 3 days later is good. That sharp pain, a numb pain, a pins and needles feeling, those are all bad. You want to avoid those. So if you're doing something and you think it doesn't feel quite right, there are always alternatives for almost every movement, for every part of your body. There's no reason to be in pain. So when we talk about ab exercises, we're going to try to do them properly, but if you're doing them at home and you find that they cause some pain to your back or other areas, you know, try to seek out a little guidance for that. All right, so we're going to start with the basic crunch because I think this is one that a lot of people like to do, and they like to do not necessarily very well. I'm going to have you, Bridget, put your palms of your hands at the base there. Yep, right on top of the bottom of your stomach so that they're touching your hips. Okay. Like this. Yeah, there you go. Good. Okay. Now, I'm going to have you inhale so that the bottom of your stomach fills up with air like a balloon. So inhale all your air into the bottom of your stomach.
But hold on. I'm sorry. So inhaling, I don't get it.
Okay, so when you inhale, yeah, right, your chest usually comes up. You like to breathe in your chest. And I'm a belly breather because I used to sing in a choir. So for me, even when I do ab exercises, my sort of thing that I do wrong is that I like to push my stomach out, even when I'm doing ab exercise. So even when I'm really thin, my abs roll out. They actually kind of poke out. For you, the bottom of your chest likes to come out. You like to open up big chest, right? So what I'm going to have you do is actually try to push that air all the way down to the bottom of your belly.
But that's like more like exhaling for me.
Well, what you're going to do on the exhale is push all the air out. I want you to think of yourself as, have you ever used one of those accordion things that blows on a fire? So, you know, when you open it and it brings all the air in, the inhale, it gets wider, right? And then when you exhale, it flattens out, right? So now I'm going to have you actually push all the air down here when you inhale. Think that there's a balloon in the bottom of your stomach. So inhale, bring the air into your body, And as you inhale, try to blow your stomach up big. Oh, this is interesting. This is a good exercise for you. Everybody has something that everybody has a way they like to breathe and they like to move, and they're predisposed to moving that way. And so a lot of what you're doing with ab work is teaching all those areas that aren't working to work. So go ahead and put the hand right here for me. Good. Now what I want you to think about doing, don't even think about what your chest is doing. Just think about, okay, as I inhale, I'm gonna fill up a tire around my waist. Yeah, there you go. And then exhale, flatten out that tire. Good. Inhale, fill it up. Exhale, flatten it out. Good. Inhale, fill it up. Exhale, flatten it out. Good. Now, can you feel the top of your hips kind of almost touching the floor there?
Yes.
Good.
When I exhale.
Yeah, exhale and pull it down again. And then we're going to let you do the one you like. So inhale, make it big. Up.
Oh, okay, the other way.
Inhale, make it big. Yeah, there you go. And exhale, pull it down. Good. Okay, now we're going to play with the ribs, which is the one that I think you'll be really good at. You'll take really fast. Put your the palms of your hands on the outside of your ribs. Now inhale, make them huge. Good. And then exhale, close the space at the bottom like someone's standing behind you pulling in a corset. Okay. Good. Inhale, blow them up. Exhale, make them small. Good. Now all that's just the setup to a basic crunch. What you want to feel is, as you can see, Bridgette's stomach is all flat right now. It's all flat and it's all pulling down into the ground. When you look at your belly before you do ab exercises, or when you're doing ab exercises, it should look like this. Flat, pulling down into the ground. Even if you have a big belly, you can see the difference, right? When it's out versus when it's in, it looks different. It looks tighter. And we want to teach your body to pull it tighter, right? That's the whole point. We want a smaller waist.
Right.
So go ahead and put the hands behind your head now. Now on every exhale, I want you to feel that feeling of your ribs pressing together and down into the floor. Okay. And as you exhale, there's a line right here at the bottom of your bra strap. And your ribs are going to press down into the floor as your shoulder blades lift up. Okay, ready? And
all right.
First crunch. Good. Now you'll notice as Bridgette's doing her crunches, her abs are pulling down away from my fingers. They're pulling down into the floor. Make sure you're exhaling every time. Yeah, there you go. So they're pulling down and together, and the stomach's actually getting smaller. Now, if she were doing it differently, go ahead and try to let your belly pooch up. I know this is going to be strange, but see if you can push it up as you raise up. Now, you've seen people do this in abs class, right? You've seen them kind of pooch their tummy up, and all they're doing is working their abs into a rounded position. Now, go ahead and try the exhale again, pulling your stomach away from me as you come up. Yeah, as opposed to flattening it out. And you want your belly to flatten out as you do ab exercises. So this is really good practice. Okay, so we took a look at the way that Bridgette was working her abdominals, and Bridgette was saying for her, actually, it is actually you could say, what's the most difficult thing of this for you?
Inhaling with the belly, like from the bottom, blowing up your stomach, how you said, with the air, filling it with the air.
Yep, or, and for some people, it's the exact opposite. I have a lot of friends who are singers, and I used to be a singer myself, so I'm used to really blowing up the bottom of my belly. I don't even use my ribs anymore, and so it was really hard for me to learn how to pull my ribs down. And whatever your personal issue is, the first time you do this, you're not going to see your stomach come down immediately. You have to actually build those muscles up so that your stomach will then retract and pull in and actually start to make itself smaller. A lot of, when you hear people talk about Pilates making you leaner and smaller, that is basically the whole theory of Pilates, is that your body's pulling itself in and making it leaner and smaller. And the motor units in this area, however you fire your abdominals naturally, are not used to responding to the impulse from your brain telling them to fire, because it doesn't happen. You usually use the other muscles around it to, like you like to use the top of your abs more than the bottom. So the bottom of your abs aren't used to responding to that impulse. They're not used to hearing it. So sometimes it takes 8 or 9 or 10 workouts before your stomach will actually come down, but you have to keep telling it to come down because it's got to practice, and eventually all those motor units will pick up. Sometimes that happens a piece at a time. Sometimes the 10th or 12th workout will come along and then all of a sudden, it'll all pull down for you.
Very nice. So it's just practice.
Yeah, practice, just like anything else in life. So that's obviously the first basic ab exercise. And while I have you here, we'll move on to the second. So I'm going to have you go ahead and put your knees right over your hips.
So now, raise.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Now, people talk about all the time about doing bicycles. You see people doing these in the gym, and it just sort of looks like they're throwing themselves around. They do like 100 of them really fast. You're not really getting the best benefit out of these if you're doing 100 really fast. Because this is that same concept where you're talking about of pulling your stomach down into the floor to protect your spine. Your stomach kind of hugs your spine, and your obliques are a huge part of that because those are the ones when you turn or when you move side to side that fire. So you want to teach your stomach to stabilize those while you're using them. So we're going to start off really basic, just the legs. And if you find that just the legs are hard for you, stay with just the legs. Don't go to the full bicycle. Okay. All right, so go ahead and put your hands on the floor for me, Bridgette. And what I'm going to have you do is press one heel out and then the other. Hence the term bicycle. Now, Bridgette has something that I also have, which is my hips are a little bit twisted. So when I push one of my feet, it'll do a little crack the first time. And usually what that means is that your hips are shifting around a little. You've probably experienced the same thing at home. So what she did immediately, just almost as though I hadn't had to tell her, was push just slightly higher with the heel. Go ahead and just pretend like you need to go even higher. So go slightly higher with the heels. Now, the higher you push with the heels, the easier it is to keep your hips on the floor. Now I want you to exhale for me, Bridgette, almost every time, at least on half of the bicycle there. And as you exhale, I want you to pull your stomach further away from your legs. Good. Now what she's doing is stabilizing her hips. This is a big part of what your abs do for you when you walk around every day. And you can see how this is almost the exact same movement as walking, right? And what this does is a lot of you who complain of lower back pain after walking around a lot, this teaches the muscles that protect that to work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the arms. You're going to pull this shoulder towards that knee. And I want you to try to do it really slow so that your whole body stays still right here. Okay. Good. So you see how Bridgette's pulling really long through here? And I want you to even try to push both ribs down as you're doing this, like hold them in. Yeah, feel how much harder that is? Yeah, definitely. So you notice right now with Bridgette's stomach, nothing between my hands is moving. Okay, all of that is staying still. And what it's allowing is for her limbs to move freely and strongly while her abdomen stays nice and strong. And it's also, you can see, whittling her waist down because she's pulling tight every time she turns to the side, thus causing those muscles that cut in and give us a tiny little waist to fire. So now again, if you find that just pressing your legs gives you a good ab workout, stay there, or you can go to the bicycle there. And then over time, you know, if you have a gym, you can start trying to do this one side at a time on a Bozu or something like that. But that actually is, bicycles are a lot harder than you think they are when you're trying to keep your ribs pressed down and your abs pulled in.
So you're not like flopping all over the place, like you're stabilized, and it is a more challenging.
Yep, exactly. I don't know if you can do an ugly bicycle. Can you do an ugly bicycle?
Just like kind of.
Yes. So you see, this is what you see people doing in the gym all the time. You see how Bridgette's rolling from side to side? Basically, this is just, at this point, cardio. You're getting some good momentum, but your hips are also shifting back and forth, and that can also cause a little friction on your spine. Yeah, and that's, we don't want to. Lower back. Yeah, I get you. Yep, and then you immediately feel it in the lower back. And obviously, Bridgette's in really good shape, so she feels that in her lower back. You can bet that people in a gym do too. Cool. So any questions about that?
No, it's pretty good.
Cool.
So Holly, what are some other cardio moves that you can do at home?
Well, you know, we talked a lot about strength training. We did some 3 basic strength training moves, and some of those you can integrate into your cardio. But we'll talk about some things, you know, obviously I tell people all the time, exercise is just a repetitive movement of one thing, and especially when it comes to cardio, that's true. Do you like to bike? Get out there and bike. Do you like to run? Get out there and run. Do you like to walk? Get out there and walk. Whatever it is you will do, swimming, you know, playing soccer, whatever it is you will do that'll get your heart rate up, that keeps you moving for more than 30 minutes, do it. Anaerobic cardio is where you boost your metabolism really quickly, you get your heart rate up really fast for a short amount of time, and those benefits, if you do even, say, 10 minutes, like you do the 3 exercises we gave you, and then you do maybe 5 minutes worth of a little bit of calisthenics, a little anaerobic cardio, that actually will boost your metabolism for the whole day. Oh, wow. So the cool thing about anaerobic cardio is it's immensely effective in a very short amount of time. So these are some things you can do just to get your heart rate up, and if you work in a very casual office, these are things you can even do in the privacy of your own office or at your desk to get you going in the morning. So we'll start out with something simple. Let's say you are a person who walks, and walking is what you do. So we'll start out, let's say you go from a walk to a stomp. So you're doing a standing stomp, right? So this might be a lot for you. And if this is a lot for you, stay here, do this as fast as you can, and you'll do it as fast as you can for about 30 seconds.
What about your arms? I'm sorry.
You want to do your arms in alternation. So, it's not that you don't walk same arm, same leg. You don't want to march, jump, or do anything else same arm, same leg. Good. So your body likes that opposing movement. It just really likes that. So you can do this for 30 seconds. If this is hard for you, do it as hard as you can for 30 seconds and then move on to another movement. And that's how you can sort of make it an interval train. You want to switch between every 30 seconds, I find, is usually enough to go really hard. And you want to rest for an equal amount of time or up to a minute and a half between each one, depending on your level of fitness. You want to try to get to where you can recover in 30 seconds and then go again. So now I want you to drive your knees up past your hip like you're a track star and stay up on your toes. We call it a high knee run. Beautiful, good. Now this will really burn the calories. You can see she's getting big movement in every time, and she's going to do that for 30 seconds as hard as she can, right? Good start. Excellent. That was really good. All right. So you got that one going. Now we talked about the squat hop, right?
Yes.
Once the squat hop becomes something that you can repeat, you can actually do squat hops for 30 seconds. Nice big jump. We can do one now that we know that you got good form on the squat hop there. Good. Jumping up. Nice. And you bang out as many of those as you can in 30 seconds. A lot of times human beings move in what we call the sagittal plane. That's this plane, front and back sort of plane. If you think about soccer players, if you think about animals, you think about evasive movements, those go side to side. And a lot of times when you hear about people having knee pain or having problems, it's because they don't do enough side to side.
Okay.
So I always like to integrate a couple of side to side movements, get some of the, and also ladies, side to side movements, lean your legs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's good.
So if you are the kind of person who says, oh, I don't like my butt and my thighs, please do side to side movements. They'll make your tush a little bit higher and tighter, and they'll make your legs leaner and skinnier. Gets rid of those sort of saddlebag.
Higher and tighter is good.
Yeah, higher and tighter is what we go for. I always say make the glutes salute. That's what you're going for. All right, so let's start out with a really simple movement you've probably seen in every movie that has sports or that has any kind of battle. We're going to start with jumping jacks.
Oh, okay.
So jumping jacks, you start everything together. Arms open up, go to the top, and then back down. Good, go for it. Give me some jumping jacks. Beautiful. Jumping jacks, nice and simple. Now, I also like shuffles. Okay. If you have a small stool or a small step in your house, you can actually do these up and over the step. But since most of them don't, I would say let's go maybe 5 shuffles this way, 5 shuffles back.
Okay.
So you're going to make sure your feet stay parallel, stick your butt out. If you really want to get those nice tight glutes, when you do shuffles or when you do things that go side to side, stick your butt out just a little bit and leave your knees in that good squat position. So you're in about a quarter squat here.
Okay.
And then you're going to shuffle to the side and shuffle back.
So it's just quick?
Yep, just quick feet, quick feet, quick feet, quick feet. Nice, very good. And it's that simple. Yeah, it's that simple. Wow. That's a simple shuffle. And you can do that in the house. And like I said, you can do it actually up and over something, back and forth. Yep, so if you had a bench between your feet or a small stool,
okay.
Yep, up and over, back and forth.
A little more intense.
Exactly. There's some good cardio you can also do for your arms, getting your arms involved. This one I have heard called the matrix. So you're going to start sort of like you're a fighter, right, in a fighting position. And you're going to punch as high as you can up and then as low as you can towards your feet. Good, so high, high, up, low, low.
And you're turning like your hips?
Yes, okay. Exactly, because you want to get as big a movement as you can so you can get the most out of that as you can. And you'll do these as quickly as you can. Now, now you'll notice as Bridgette's doing this, this is a good one. When you talk about upper body cardio, those of you who have knee problems and might have trouble doing things like jump squats, in addition to the shuffles, which are good for as long as your doctor's okay with it, which are good for almost everybody. Obviously the high knees and the jumps may not be for you, and maybe even the squats are a little too intense, but the shuffles you can do, you can walk quickly, and you can do things like upper body cardio, so you can do punches. And obviously, I don't know if any of you have ever taken like boxing classes, but just simple punching back and forth as quick as you can, that'll do it as well, right? So you can start up and down, and then you can go to here, you can go up and down, and then you can go to here, and that can be your cardio intervals.
That's awesome. It's easy enough. You can do it at home, so
yep.
It's something it's feasible.
Yeah.
It's doable.
So now the last thing I like to do, this really puts all the pieces of the cardio back together. This will basically put together almost everything we've done today except maybe just the isolated abs, is called a burpee. or you can add a push-up variation, which will then make it a cherry picker, or you can add 2 push-ups, which make it a watermelon picker. But we're going to keep it simple to start with. We're going to do 1 burpee. Now, a burpee combines all 3 things. So you're going to first squat down, so squat first, hands on the floor, then push your feet behind you, straight out behind you in a plank position. Good. And now for a push-up, this is where you'd add the push-up. Beautiful. And then you jump your feet back in and then jump up. So we have squats, push-up position, squats, hop, right? Yeah. So that puts together everything we did. And if you do as many of those as you can in 30 seconds, whew, all you gotta do is that you do that about 3 times, your workout's over. And now when you get tired, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong or right about this, I tend to let the gravity just bring me right into the push-up because it makes it a little easier. You let gravity bring you into the push-up and then you bring yourself out of it. So you kind of fall into the push-up. Perfect. One more time. Good, and that is a burpee, and the first one was a burpee with a push-up. Perfect. Okay. Absolutely perfect.
I didn't know there was a difference there. Like
and now we're both out of breath, which is fantastic. That's what you're going for. And so I guess putting it all together, basically you can start with the strength training movements that we did. I always say if you only have 15 minutes a day, do this for 15 minutes a day. You know, everybody says I'm too busy to exercise. I still believe you need to get an hour of cardio in every once in a while. And for people, especially with heart problems, 30 minutes a day of any kind of exercise is really good for you. Even the basic population, 30 minutes a day is really good for you. But something is always better than nothing. So if you're at home in the morning, I recommend, you know, you can either do 3 sets of one thing that you saw today, you know, of each of one thing. So you can do 3 sets of the squats, push-ups, abs, and then do a little cardio and do 3 sets of that. That's a total body workout. It'll take you maybe half an hour. But then if you're in an even bigger hurry, there are other variations you can do. You can do something called the pyramid, where you do 2 exercises. You can pick any 2, you know, preferably different exercises. So don't do like squat hops and then, you know, high knee runs. You want to do like maybe squat hops and then push-ups. So you're using different parts of your body. And you'll do 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7,
work
7.
your way down. Okay.
Exactly, work your way down. And that literally takes like 5 minutes and your heart rate's way up. It's that anaerobic effect. Plus you got a little bit of body weight training in, which will help make you a little stronger. And then, you know, that's 5 minutes in the morning and your heart and your metabolism burns faster all day and your body starts to see the benefits. You start to look better after a week or 2 of doing that. The actual muscle fibers do take 3 months to change, so don't get frustrated if at first you don't see change. You'll feel better immediately, and the change will come later.
It's gradual. It's a work in progress, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Holly, thank you so much for taking the time to show us these exercises. I hope our viewers at home use these tips and, you know, get in shape for the new year. I'm Bridgette Hunt, and you're watching WorldviewZ.
Thank you for watching this BaseNet presentation of WorldviewZ. From Boston to LA and New York to San Francisco, we have you covered. I'm Gene White. On behalf of myself and all our staff, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.